Is this a table? How do you know? What's the indication that it is a table? I'll explain step by step how to incorporate a table into your worksheet. Ready? Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Section 913, Excel formula table shortcuts. We're going to create a table. We have data here in row, starts in B3, scales down to, or ranges down to E12. It's just the merchandise. Same example we've been using. You can design this any way you want. So to change this information into a table, it's simple. Go to Insert, Table, make sure your range is set, and you can see it's set to D16. We want to highlight B3, the range down to E12. Over here in the table, it shows D3 to E13. We have headers. We have an order, item, wholesale, and retail. Those are headers. We hit OK. And now we have a table. That's simple. If we want to sum up this information here, go to table design, hit total row, and we have a sum. If you want the average, just click this arrow here down where it says total. If you want the max, you have just a lot of choices. You can go into the actual function menu and you can add anything you want in here. But we'll just stick with, and that would be sum 209. Now here we just have wholesale prices and retail. Let's say we want the difference between the two. I just went sheet 2, D4. If you want to compute the difference between retail and wholesale, type in equals E4 minus D4. It automatically computes the difference. You can change this to anything you want. What I want to point out here is the formula difference. You can see here what we would typically do is we would go equals, and you can do this manually. We can go equals E4 minus D4. But with a table, you're going to see a different format. See at retail minus at wholesale. That's the way formulas are created with tables. If you want to use the traditional method, you can, but here's the problem. If you move this table, if you change the table, the calculations may not be accurate. So stick with the normal method. If you want to input these manually, you have to type the exact structure. So here you have equals, you have to add the bracket, the at sign, and retail minus at wholesale. Now, if you want to remove the table, just go in, highlight the table, right click, go to table, and convert to range. And it will ask, do you want to convert the table to a normal range? That's what we started with. We started with this range here. Notice now we have sheet 2 E5 minus sheet 2 D5. Not the traditional way we would do this. This is the traditional way, but this is the recalculation. Remember, it was at wholesale and at retail. Just keep that in mind. If you want to recreate the table, just highlight the table, go to Insert, Table, make sure the range is correct, make sure your table is checked, hit OK, and there's the table and there's the formula. But here it's showing a different structure. There are just different techniques within Excel that can drive you crazy sometimes. This, I presume, so if you're not comfortable with the sheet 2 E4, delete it, go equals E minus D. And here it didn't correct the entire range. Control D, and you can see the formula. But here it's showing a different structure. And what I do in instances like this, I just highlight this range, I hit delete, and I'll go equals E minus D. And again, it's just not doing what it's supposed to be doing. The calculations are correct, but the formulas are all screwed up. Going back, we will insert table. We want the difference to see equals E minus D. What happened here? Okay. The problem here is there's a hidden row here. It's causing a problem. The conflict, deletes, it equals minus equals, and it automatically computes the difference. Go to table design, hit total row. There you go. Now, if you want to convert this back over to a range, I suggest you eliminate this total row because you're going to have to delete it anyway. Keep in mind you have this retail and wholesale. There's a difference there. Now watch what happens when we convert this back over to a range. Right click anywhere within the table. Go down to table in this dialog box. Convert to range. Hit yes. And note you have sheet 2 E5 minus sheet 2 D5, which is the equivalent of equals E minus D. Table formulas, stick with the table. If you move the table, if you make changes, stick with the table format when you're adding additional columns. It just makes life much easier. Go back, one more final example. Let's recreate the range, highlight the range, insert table, do the same thing, equals 36 minus 13, it autofills. If you don't want this autofill feature, go to File, Options, go to Proofing, go to Autocorrect Options, go to Auto Format as you type, and then if you want to remove that autofill, fill formulas in tables to create calculated columns, check that, hit OK, hit OK. Let's just delete this column. Let's equals 36 minus 13. It formats the column, but it didn't copy down. Be sure to check out our extensive courses, which include Excel data and text manipulation for advanced users, beginners, intermediate. We also have this great essentials, the A to Z for advanced users, the comprehensive beginner level 1 and 2. Then we have our advanced formulas, strictly formulas, great set of courses, which we have a beginner level 1 and beginner level 2, this intermediate level, and we have this advanced level. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. If you want this calculation just down to, let's say, 1004, and you want to leave everything else blank, grab the border and drag it down. You have this calculation only. You have this autofill. If you want to fill the remaining section, just go over here to auto correct in this dialog box to the right of the current calculation. Hit auto correct. If you can capture the little rascal, hit the arrow, overwrite all cells in the columns with this formula, and it will automatically fill. That way you don't have to go back into the options proofing and rechecking that box. So let's say you're somewhere else within in a worksheet, or you just need to do a quick calculation, whatever it is. So you want to sum up wholesale in a different column or row or what have you. Equals sum, highlight the range, close the parenthesis. It basically will create a name range automatically. Now it won't show up here in the name range. This is the table 2. If you ever need to know what this table is, you can rename the table if you want. You just highlight the table, and that should say table 2. You have a table range name, table 2 wholesale, because we're in table 2, as shown here, table 2. we're adding this range, wholesale. If you want to add table ranges, equals wholesale plus retail. This little dynamic thing that Excel does, what it's doing is it's going across here and it's adding these two numbers together. Now keep in mind, when you add two numbers together with this spill feature, all you need to do is compute the first calculation and it will do the rest for you. This is a spill feature, and we'll get into this later on, but instead of you having to copy this down, this spill feature will do it automatically. All you need to do is go in and format it, just hit $, and you're good to go. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.